welcome back to Teacher Talks. I'm so excited, and because we are starting a new season with Teacher Talks, and actually we're going to continue with the like 100, and the first session is going to be held tonight. But our questions and the guests will be different, and the topics that we are going to talk about different. I'm so excited, and I hope that it's going to be a really great season. Alright, so tonight we are going to have a very special guest, and also she is very important for me in my teaching career. And so during our conversation we are going to talk lots of things, but I would like to introduce her, and she is Gökçe Mandalı Kurdoğlu, Academic Director, NSLS Education. When she comes, we are going to start, or maybe I can invite her here, then we can start our live sessions. I'm really excited and happy. Let me invite her. When she comes, we are going to start our live session. Yes.
Hello,
I think.
everyone. Sorry. I guess there's a problem with the camera.
Yes, Gökçe hocam. We can
A second.
hear you. Oh, let me invite her again. Yes, I have invited her again. Hello everybody. Yes, I think I invited, and I'm waiting for her. I invited her again. Just a moment. Let me invite her again. So sorry. Sometimes these things can happen. I invited her. Yes. Yes,
Okay.
there she is. Okay. Finally, Gökçe hocam.
Hello, everyone. Sorry to
Hello.
keep you wait.
No, it's okay. It's great to see you. And welcome to Teacher Talk.
Problem.
Okay, we can wait for you. Not a problem.
Yeah, that should be okay now.
Now this is okay. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's great. Okay, Gökçe hocam, welcome to Teacher Talks. It's really great to see you here in my live sessions. Finally, actually, I was planning to have you, in the first season of Teacher Talks, but I think we couldn't do it. But now we are having the first session of the second season with you. It's really great honor for me to have you, because you have a really special place in my teaching and education career.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Yes, that's it. And if you are ready, and we can start, Gökçe hocam.
Okay, sure, I'm ready. And
right.
I'd like to say a couple of words before we start.
Okay.
I'm extremely happy to be with you here today. And you know that you have a special place in my heart as well.
Thank you.
I'm really glad that we had the chance to work together. Yeah, we've been planning this for such a long time, and I'm really glad that we finally made it.
Yeah, great. All right. So, okay. So, Gökçe hocam, can you tell us about yourself, please, and a bit about your experiences too?
Sure. So maybe I can start with my educational background.
Sure.
Yeah, I've been in the world of ELT for around 17 years now. I started actually in 2006. I graduated from Hacettepe University ELT department, and right after graduation, I started working at Bilkent University as a full-time instructor at the prep school, and I worked there for around 8 years, almost 7.5, I would say. And then, as you know, I worked at different institutions around Turkey, both K-12 and tertiary levels. I had the chance to work at. What else can I say? I also got transferred to the publishing world at some point, and I worked for Pearson for around 1.5 years as a teacher trainer, as a learning consultant as well. And currently I'm working for NSLS Education, which is a newly established education company. I think we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we will talk about it.
And at the same time, I'm doing my PhD at Bilkent University. Before that, I completed my MA and Delta NISL at Bilkent again. So this is where I am now. Actually.
Now you're here. So thank you very much for this information. That is such a huge and a big background. Thank you, Gökçe Hocam.
Thank you.
Okay, so Gökçe Hocam, let's move to another question. What was or were your turning point or points in your own education?
Yeah, I'm sure like many of us, I have a couple of turning points actually. But I'd like to share with you today the most important one, and maybe chronologically the earliest one, okay? And that actually takes me back to the high school years. Basically the turning point for me was to decide to study language. As you know, in high school, I think it was after grade 9, we were asked to choose a department, and a department like language, sciences, social sciences, etc. And we had this amazing English teacher, Kadir Tunç, saying hi to him. I don't know if he's ever watching, aware of me, but he deeply affected how I viewed life and also education as well. He was a great model for everyone. So I guess that was like heavy attending his classes and learning about language education. I think that was it. Yeah, that's because that's when I decided to become an English teacher.
Teacher, thank you. Thanks to him. That's your English teacher. Wonderful.
Yeah, hopefully.
Wonderful. And I just want to remind something to our the followers or the watchers who watch us. If you have any questions to Gökçe Hocam, please write them into the question part. Because if you write them into the comment parts, maybe we can miss it while we are talking. So if you write them into the question part, so I can ask your questions to Gökçe Hocam during our session. Okay, thank you. And Gökçe Hocam, my next question is about your philosophy. I know that maybe during your teaching career, you have tried lots of teaching techniques and maybe methodologies and maybe other things you have tried. But I wonder, what is your philosophy of teaching?
By the way, before I talk about it, I'm still suffering from post-COVID symptoms. So yeah, it's been a couple of weeks since I had it, but still I'm coughing and my nose is running. So I'm sorry if that or those interrupt us in the meanwhile. So about the teaching philosophy, that's a very tough question. But I can say, let me try to summarize what I think. So when I reflect on my views about teaching, I can say I don't really believe in teaching, if you see what I mean, like especially its connotations today. So because I think it suggests things like upfront teaching and teacher is doing something like in the classroom, and the students are rather more passive. So even the word itself is very
Yes.
like teacher oriented. So both for teacher education and also for any type of education, I believe learning and also willingness to learn, and somehow just encouraging that and fostering that willingness to learn is very, very important. And when I think about our role as educators, I think our role is then to create the conditions, especially where we somehow, trigger students' interests, and which you do very well,
Right.
because I've seen your classes. So just somehow get students to be willing and excited about learning. Because from that point onwards, I believe student autonomy starts. So students, once they're interested and they want to learn, then, or they feel that they need to learn, then I think they take more responsibility. That's what I believe.
I see.
But the big question today, and the challenge is, how do we get learners to want to learn? I think that's the big challenge today.
That's really difficult, especially the new, the new, how can I say, the new
generation?
Yeah, the new generation. I forgot the word. I'm so sorry about it. It's really difficult to take them into the lesson, to take their attentions. Really, you need to find lots of ways to put them into the the lesson, because it's really hard them to take their attention to the lessons, because their minds, their body is in the classroom, but their minds, there are lots of things are in their minds. Really, so difficult sometimes.
I agree. Yeah. And I mean, they're a little bit right as well, right? Because this is one of the discussions that we see in like conferences and everywhere since World War II. Somehow, education hasn't changed much, it seems. Like even like our classes, they're like factory lines still. So not very surprising, but somehow, as teachers, we're faced with this. Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Gökçe Hocam. Let's move to another. Would you like to add anything else, or can I move to another question?
Yeah, please. Let's move on.
All right. Okay. As I know that you are working right now NSLS Education, so can you tell us about NSLS Education? What is it? What is their purpose? What are they doing there? What kind of things it's going on there?
Yeah. I'll be so happy to do that, because I'm really proud to be working for NSLS Education now. So, as I said, NSLS Education, it's an education company, a newly established education company. We really avoid the word publishing company, because it's not a publishing company, but we really aim to be a real education company. And I can say that NSLS Education is actually representing a couple of global companies. For example, a Spanish edtech company called Odilo. So we're offering some digital solutions there, at different, that's a different products and also services, not just products, I can say.
I see.
And also one of the world's education giants, McGraw-Hill, is another company that we're working in partnership with. And we're really excited. We're a very, very, I wouldn't say ambitious, but a very enthusiastic team of people. And we would like to do also good things in education, contribute to the society. We're a little bit idealistic about that. I hope, we can do some different projects. On the product side, I would like to extend a little bit on what we're doing with Odilo, our fully digital ecosystem, we call it. You can think of Odilo as a kind of limitless space where you can design different digital content, digital courses, classes, different materials. You can work with it because there are more than 3 million resources there. And also we have, again, on the product side, we have the McGraw-Hill, where we have different K-12, higher education, higher ed products. And other than our product-related solutions, I'd like to briefly talk about our consultancy services, because we've already built great partnerships with different colleges and universities around Turkey. And I wouldn't name the institutions because we didn't get there.
No.
Would that be okay?
Of course,
like,
you can say the names, not a problem.
Like for Odilo, for digital, for our digital product, we can say we're working closely with Başkent University. They're, I think, leading a great change there. They've designed different digital courses, fully digital courses, which is something very innovative in Turkey. And also with TED University, we're partnering up with on a teacher education program. We're super excited about it. It's going great. Working with great team of people there as well. So and such things we're doing with different universities. Basically, Excellent. This is what we're doing. Yeah.
Great. So let me ask you another questions again, which is related with NSLS education. How does NSLS education help teachers, and how can they contact NSLS education?
Yes. Okay. I think I've covered some of the things already about how we can help teachers, but maybe one thing I can add is any consultancy work or like teacher education or on the product side as well. We're offering a fully customized or tailor-made solutions. So what I mean by that is we don't have a set of generic courses or we don't have generic trainings, etc. But it's more like we're definitely listening to what the institutions want and need, and then just understand their systems and desires and vision, and then just partner up with them and create things with them. Actually, it's a very creative process. And how can they contact us? Unfortunately, at the moment, our website and LinkedIn pages are under construction. As I said, we're new, but they're to be finalized soon. But they can always contact me. Maybe I can share my email address, like Gökçe.Kurdoğlu@nslseducation.com, or they can just again reach out to us through email. Our email account nslseducation@gmail.com, or you can always visit our Instagram page and follow us on Instagram as NSLS Education. That's also possible.
I see. Thank you very much, Gökçe Hocam. Thank you. Would you like to add anything else about NSLS, or otherwise I'll move to other topics that we are going to talk about?
No, as I said, you're more than welcome to contact us. Just know that we're here. We're a super excited and great team of people, so we would like to meet your institution for sure.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you, Gökçe Hocam. Okay, so let's move to a very serious problem, especially. I really wonder, this is also your specialty, if I'm not wrong, as far as I know, a kind of, you are a curriculum designer, if I'm not wrong. So let's start with this. What is a curriculum?
Another tough question.
Yes.
Now I realize that I'm really not good at defining broad concepts. But again, I'll try to do my best. So maybe I can tell you about what I've learned from the PhD courses, because I'm still in the process. I can't say I'm an expert, but I can say that I'm still in the process because I'm a PhD student in curriculum and instruction at Bilkent University, as I said. So one thing I've learned from the PhD courses is that how you define curriculum depends on the ideology, the curriculum ideology a school, an institution has. So let's say if, by ideologies, what I mean is like things like scholar academic, ideology, or I don't know, constructivist ideologies, reconstructionist ideologies. There are different types of ideologies, you know, in different fields of life, and also in curriculum design as well. So it depends on what type of ideology the school is after. And those ideologies are actually very much reflected in their vision and mission statements. So a curriculum is very much about what a school wants finally, like what kind of a learner profile they want to create, how they want to contribute, or if they want to contribute to the society, what's their ultimate goal. So such big questions come to play when we talk about the definition for curriculum. But if you ask about my own definition of curriculum, or rather not my own, but a generic one, I would say it's a very simple one I can provide you with, is curriculum is the totality of the learning experiences. I really like this definition. I don't know who found it. Sorry, I can't quote right now. But maybe one thing to highlight in this definition is the like the experiences. So because in the definition, as you see, the word learning objectives do not appear, because it's not like the curriculum is not only about curriculum objectives, it's more than that. So speaking of learning objectives, maybe I can tell you that yes, it's important to define what curriculum is, but I think it's also important to define what it is not, because sometimes it's confused with other things. Like number one would be, for example, curriculum is not learning objectives only. So it's not syllabus. It's not a, it's not a list of learning objectives, let's say. There are many other components of curriculum, such as values, for example, different instructional design models, or different, I don't know, again, learning preferences, planning of outside class activities as well, extracurricular activities, different, I don't know, maybe ideologies, again, hidden curriculum we can talk about. So there are different, many other different components of curriculum, but somehow in practice I see that in some institutions, unfortunately, it's just reduced to a set of learning objectives only. So another distinction or a kind of clarification would be about curriculum and assessment are not two separate fields. Sometimes, you know, we talk about, or different institutions, when we talk about curriculum and assessment, somehow we talk about them as if they were different areas, totally different areas independent of each other, but I believe that's not the case. So curriculum is the umbrella term, and assessment and everything else goes into it.
Thank you. Thank you, Gökçe Hocam. So let's move to another question with the curriculum. So what are the benefits of curriculum for the teachers when you look at points of teachers?
Sure. So I believe there are many benefits, of course. I mean, I'm sure like our audience now would, even when we ask them now, that they would come up with lots of things, different things. But for this talk, I'd like to maybe highlight one of those. I'd like to share teacher autonomy is one of the greatest benefits of having a curriculum. At first, I think it sounds a little bit ironic. Like a document like curriculum, how can it foster teacher autonomy? Because curriculum, especially when it's documented, it may sound a little bit restrictive, right? Because you, kind of, unless it's a prescriptive curriculum, I mean. But ideally, it depends on curriculum design, how you design it, etc., etc. But ideally, kind of curriculum should actually give teachers some flexibility and room for decision making. You may ask how. If we see curriculum as a kind of roadmap, of the things, of different learning experiences, of different instructional materials, of different, let's say, learning objectives, outputs, etc., etc., then that means that if it's the general roadmap or a kind of which also outlines where to go, like different destinations as well,
Yes.
then the way to get to a place like a destination may be different. I mean, we can achieve the learning objectives listed there in different ways if we have a kind of curriculum document. Because if we don't have a kind of curriculum document or a kind of roadmap, then that, I think, puts teachers in a situation where they need to be overly standard, or you know, or I don't know, they need to strictly follow the course book, because I think that's the dichotomy, right? You either have a curriculum or there are some course book driven lessons, courses.
I see.
Then you need to strictly follow the course book, which means that the teacher doesn't have any choice or voice in the system. They need to because there is not a kind of general agreement on what to do as a group. So that's why I believe that it helps with teacher autonomy.
I understand. Okay, thank you, Gökçe Hocam. And as far as I'm sure that designing a curriculum is not an easy thing to do. Yeah. It takes time. It takes a really long time sometimes to design a curriculum. So you can not prepare a curriculum in just a couple days, but it takes real time. But while you are designing this curriculum, probably there are some key concepts, I think. So what are these key concepts in curriculum design?
I'll try to share a couple of those, as I said, because it's a very broad area again. I believe the first one would be, again, deciding on the ideology. I want to recap that idea again, like with what kind of ideology are we creating that curriculum? That curriculum we're designing, is it in line with our institutional needs, vision, mission, like that bigger picture? How does it fit? Okay, so because they're not independent of each other. And this also includes the target learner profile. So I don't know, think of an institution. So what kind of a like learner profile we want to create? What kind of people should be graduates of this institution? So deciding on such kinds of things. So there's a huge decision-making process there in terms of the policies and also, you know, different those bigger pictures, etc. But other than that, of course, there are things about processes. I call them, like process of curriculum design also includes things like what type of curriculum. Would that be a systemic one? Would that be, I don't know, a constructivist one? Would that be, I don't know, maybe a fully academic one? So there are different types of curriculum, as we know. So which one would that be? Or a blend of all, like an eclectic one, maybe. That's important to decide.
I see.
And one more thing I'd like to mention is the fact that curriculum should not ideally be discipline specific. So, I mean, when you think about a school, there are different disciplines being taught, right? Especially at K-12 level, we have different lessons like English lesson and different, I don't know, history with different classes, social sciences, etc. So when we talk about curriculum, ideally there should be curriculum, unless it's Monet's, right? The institution is following. If there is an institutional curriculum, then it should be for every, like a kind of overarching curriculum. So maybe at this point it's important to differentiate between a program, like an English program, and a science program, and a curriculum. But the curriculum could be the binding factor, the umbrella term there. And when we think about it, then we should be thinking about how to build the interdisciplinary connections, I would say. Like, how is science linked to English, for example, if it's K-12? Or if it's, say, if it's a tertiary context, let's say, think of a prep school, for example,
I see.
English prep school, then again, how are the lesson hours broken down? Like how are they structured? Could be an issue. Like how do we connect the dots across different lessons if there are different types of English classes there? So it's the aim is to actually create a coherent whole. So I would say that that's important.
I see. Thank you. Thank you, Gökçe Hocam. So for these really important information about curriculum. So my next question may be related with the key concept, but maybe you would like to say different things. What are the priority standards for designing curriculum?
That's a very, very important question again. Maybe it's first important to build a common ground on that in the session. What you mean by priority standards? What I understand from it is like the framework, the core framework an institution is going to adopt, right? The main principles you're going to adopt as an institution before you build curriculum. That's what I understand. Is that what? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What you meant? Okay. Then I would say that would depend on what an institution wants. Again, but I would set up at least 2 criteria or highlight 2 of them for this session. And number 1 would be, as with anything else today, it's a new age thing, I guess. Less is more, right?
Sure.
Because somehow in practice there are lots of different issues surrounding that. Like, unfortunately, our curriculum, like centralized ones especially, somehow they're overloaded. We always hear about the problems regarding pacing, like teaching for the test, a lot of orientation for assessment, and it's like finishing things one after another and no time for digestion in the classroom. So I would say one of the things, priority standards, a kind of perspective about them would be less is more. Maybe we need to reconsider the scope and sequence of the learning objectives, and also think about like how we decide on them. For example, think about an English prep school. How do we do the needs analysis? Do we really check the department's needs when students go to their departments? Do they really need to learn, or do they really need to know past perfect continuous tense, for example? I don't know. So maybe such things need to be retaught, and maybe some revisions can be made. Second thing would be making database decisions, of course, collecting data throughout the process, whatever we do. So that would be a priority standard. So that, I think, should be a system in place.
I see.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Gökçe Hocam. There is a question about the curriculum. Apart from Car Spring 2002 asking the question, apart from autonomy, what can a well-designed or needs-based curriculum benefit teachers themselves? And do you think teachers should be specifically informed about the features of their own curriculum?
I think I couldn't get the second one. Could you please repeat it?
Do you think teachers should be specifically informed about the features of their own curriculum?
I think I can ask a lot of different questions about this question. That's a very interesting thing to talk about. But like teachers' own curriculum, what do we mean by that? Because what I understand is like teachers as course designers, is it? Or does it mean something else? Maybe we can ask the addressee of the question for clarification. But for the first one, other than maybe in the meanwhile, I can answer the first one. Great questions, by the way. The first one would be, other than teacher autonomy, of course, I would say it benefits, let's say, the facilitation process of a teacher. I don't really want to use the word teaching again, but how a teacher facilitates in the classroom. Curriculum is a very, very important guide in terms of that, if it's well prepared, I mean, well designed. Because probably a well-designed curriculum involves strategies and ideas and suggestions for instructional design, how to run things in the classroom, and offers different pathways to help students achieve a learning goal. So, and I'm sure that many of us as teachers, we need suggestions, we need portfolio of different activities and ideas and tasks and strategies so that we can just take them out of our pocket and make a strategic decision as needed, when needed, and do the best for each individual student. So that's, I think, number one benefit, one of the number one benefits of a well-designed curriculum. It's not like guides.
Guide for us. I see. Thank you very much, Gökçe Hocam, for your answer to the question. I hope it's really, how can I say, enough the answer for her.
Thank you.
So that's all about my curriculum. So I'm gonna move another the question. So which is related. Also, it's a really big problem for maybe not only for our country but also for other countries. Also, it's a problem. But here also. In Turkey also we face lots of problems about it. So for you, what is the biggest problem in language learning in Turkey?
I don't know which one to choose. So
maybe just one or two, you can choose it.
Now I see the comments. I can't believe it. That's Pınar Hocam. Pınar Hocam, how nice to see you.
There are lots of
she's an amazing teacher trainer. So I'm glad that she's here. I was wondering who got these great questions, and of course, and so going back to your questions, sorry about it. So there is a long list of problems, unfortunately, as we all know. So, but I would say I'll just try to get to the bottom of the problem and see if I can provide an answer where I also kind of highlight the root cause. So that'd be my perspective in answering this question. I would say, unfortunately, there are not set and commonly agreed high standards adopted across the board, like by any institution around Turkey. So there are no systems in place and there are no standards embraced by institutions. So I believe that's the big problem, because every institution runs their own system, which I think that's a very, very problematic thing, because then it seems that whatever problem happens at school, somehow individuals are blamed. Somehow, like, for example, when a conflict occurs at a school, people are blamed for it, not systems, because there are no systems in place sometimes if it's not a very, very good institution. So I believe that somehow there should be a kind of like set system embraced and discussed and adopted with like almost all the institutions, at least like the teaching and learning frameworks, I would say.
I see.
But standards are not there. And also I believe maybe we're not highlighting this enough, but in theory, like teacher educators and other people and teachers and sometimes students, managers, all stakeholders suggest different things about education, the ideals. But unfortunately, I don't know if we consider the infrastructural issues and problems that much, because we need to make realistic suggestions. It's easy to say use educational technology well, but there are many schools around Turkey that don't have any internet connection, that don't have many projectors. And they're not only private schools, they're state schools in different regions around Turkey, and equity in education is extremely important. So maybe, infrastructure problems are always a big concern for me.
I see. Okay, thank you very much, Gökçe Hocam. By the way, I think just the clarification, I think the teacher,
getting messages from my parents as well.
I see that. Should the question, I think, like, should it be only the assigned unit job to deal with curriculum promotion? Would it be easier if teachers are also trained? Try to explain. Pınar Hocam wrote.
Yeah. Okay, now I see.
She mentioned.
Yeah, that's a very good question, exactly. Of course, I believe like they shouldn't be given or assigned. But again, I think it's about a part of the teacher autonomy as well, like training in that sense, and giving opportunities for teachers to develop themselves in course design and curriculum design, as well as curriculum literacy. Those are highly valued and very, very important for sure. Yeah, I agree.
I see. Thank you very much,
but unfortunately, it's not really common. Somehow, like a group of people prepare them, and then top down, we get the curriculum, and without much understanding of it, there is no time. The year is starting. Go! Just go and teach. This is most often what happens. Yeah.
I see. Thank you very much, Gökçe Hocam. All right, it's all about the curriculum design. Let's move. I'm gonna move to different types of questions. This is really interesting, and I really wonder what I'm going to say about these. My last three questions. Can you tell us an interesting moment that you still remember in your teaching or learning career?
Sure. I really like this question. This is my personal favorite.
Sure.
Because it made me think a lot about the past time. So I'd like to share a kind of not a very specific moment, but I would just like to share a kind of period I had with a great class of 5th graders from Otti College. I had this great class. I was teaching also. I was coordinating the program, but also teaching. So as a class, we said, like, maybe we can do a PBL, problem-based learning project. And then, if you remember, we used to do,
I still have the projects.
Exactly. We did some PBL tasks, and that was a 5-week period. So that wasn't just a couple of lessons, but we did a project over 5 weeks. And at the beginning, as a teacher, as an English teacher, I had some concerns about what could happen, because PBL is a type of area where you take a lot of risks at the same time, right? You don't know. So as a teacher, it's not a place where you're teaching again, like you're a facilitator, etc. And I was also concerned a little bit about, because the project was about, by the way, the problems at school. So the students were asked to identify some of the problems at their own school and dangerous waters, and also they were asked to suggest some solutions. Okay.
Exactly.
And I was thinking, like, what could a 5th grader offer? Very wrong of me, of course. So they put me to a shame. And finally, I remember all 5th graders in that class, they came up with great projects. They did presentations about sustainability, things like zero tolerance for bullying. There were even people like, I don't know, making suggestions about interdisciplinary work, course design, and I thought they're only 5th graders. My cat is here, sorry. And they were great. So why am I sharing this with you now? Because I remind myself this example, because I think it's really important to important not to underestimate our students' capabilities and what they can potentially do, even if they're not doing well at that moment. Maybe it's always good to remind ourselves that if they want, they can do it, basically. And because as English teachers, we may be easily confusing students' English level and their cognitive abilities and who they are. Do you see, like, oh, this is an elementary student, what can they do? So it's easy to underestimate what they can do, but I think it's an important point. So that's what I want to share.
That's your interesting moment. I almost had the similar moment, just like it, because if you remember that we had done the same projects.
You take those risks a lot. That's great. Like,
yeah, we did it because I know it's also our students. You know, they made a really different project. They came up and they presented it just like lots of different projects. It was really amazing, and I feel still that we were lucky that we had the chance to apply that PBL project with our students. It was really the great moment for them to see and understand what they can do and what are their ideas about our school's problem. Maybe it's the things that we can't see. Anyway, that was a really great moment for us.
Like fourth graders doing a project about sustainable cities. Fourth graders.
I know.
Yeah, that was also amazing, surprising in a good way. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you very much for sharing this moment with us, Gökçe Hocam. All right, so let's move to the last two questions. This is also a very interesting question. And so, if you could have one superpower to use in the classroom, what would it be, and how would it help you?
Yeah. My answer would be really boring because I'm a nerd. That's fine. But I would say I would like to have the superpower to do some individual progress tracking. Because I think this is a very, very hard thing to do in the classroom, because we still have this setup of having classes, whereas we have many different individuals in the same class with different levels, with different interests, with different preferences. So one of the challenges of being a teacher is to address all of them because they're in the same class, just for physical reasons. So I wish I could just have the power to just know what each student wants and needs, and then just kind of, with kind of magic, maybe we can just follow that student's own journey rather than the program. Do you see what I mean? Like individualizing learning for them somehow. I don't know.
I see. Thank you very much. Thank you, Hocam. Before asking my last question, and I have another question here. I need to put you here. Maybe you can see it. Can you see it? I like Hocam's fluency. What would she advise us to enhance fluency in speaking? Thank you.
I can see. The question. Thank you very much, by the way. I'm flattered if you think so. Thank you for your kind comments. For fluency, lots of practice. I can say I'm not saying this because I believe I am fluent, but I have a lot of problems with fluency, to be honest, as a non-native speaker of English. And there are good days and bad days. But lots of practice is what I believe is good, other than exposure, of course. Like lots of exposure and then practice would be one thing.
I see. Thank you very much, Hocam. Okay, Gökçe Hocam, are you ready for the last question?
Yeah.
Okay, so here is the last question of 2023's first session, and here we go. What is your motto?
Oh, I need to be really careful, because once you say it, and then everybody remembers you for it. Not a very interesting one, but I can say, as I believe in the power of problem solving. It's a very important, great skill. I would say be a part of the solution and not part of the pollution. But pollution, you can take it like literal or metaphorically. We can talk about environment here, but also like pollution, any type of pollution, I can say. So that could be my motto. Be a part of the solution, not part of the pollution.
Oh, that's really nice. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Gökçe Hocam. That was we had a really great time moments. Okay, before ending our live session, like the first live session of 2023, would you like to add anything else?
Other than thank yous, no. I would like to thank everyone because I see people here. So just to take your time and attend this session and sending hearts and everything, that's been a great experience for me. And I'd like to thank you a lot for running these amazing series and being such a great teacher.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right then. And I would like to say thank you one more time, Gökçe Hocam, for being with us tonight and being our guest for the first session of the second series. And it's really important that you are here with us. And tonight, as you see that Gökçe Mandalı Kurdoğlu was with us, and we talk about lots of different topics, and we had a really fruitful time with her. And I would like to say one more time thank you. And we are going to be here next week with the second session of our new series with a different educators from different part of the city or from part of the world. And I hope to see you for the next week. And until the next time, take care of yourselves. And thank you very much for being with us also. And bye-bye. And take care of yourselves. Bye-bye, Gökçe Hocam. And thank you one more time. And peace, everybody. And see you next week. Bye.
Around. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.